In this video, we're going to take a look at a few of the features of the roof command, and I'm also going to help you through a few problem areas in the tutorial as well. The first part of the exercise is actually an independent exercise. You're not going to be working on the same house that you've been working on. Instead, you're going to create 4 little structures and add some different types of roofs on it. So I'll demonstrate that for you real briefly. One of the first things you're going to do after setting up your first little building is you're going to create an array of this building. You're going to make 3 more copies. And the way this is going to work is you're going to click and drag to select all the walls. Then up here on the Modify tab, you're looking for the Array tool right here. If I start with the Array command, in my options bar, it's going to ask me how many of these buildings I want, including the original. So I want 4 of them. Then I'm going to have to specify 2 points that will indicate the spacing between buildings. If I use the second option, I'm specifying the space between the first building and the second one. I can also specify the space between the first and the last. So in this case, we know that we want these to be 35 feet apart, so I'm going to choose the second option. And just click any point on this existing building, and I'll move it straight to the right until I've got 35 feet. I can also type 35 feet as well, but I'll just click when I see 35 feet. And I can see that I got a set of buildings now that are 35 feet apart. And I'll just go ahead and press enter to accept 4 copies of it. Finally, you'll want to ungroup these walls so that we can work with them separately. So I'm going to come up and choose the Ungroup tool on my Revit. So now it is no longer an array, they're just 4 separate little buildings here. When adding roofs, the tool that we're going to be using is the Roof by Footprint, which is the default roof tool, as you can see here. And right now I'm still on the first floor plan, so if you try to create the roof on the lowest level, it gives me a message here. So it wants to know which level do I want to go to instead. Do I want to go to the top of masonry level? Yes, I do. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. To avoid this message, you would just go ahead and go to the top of masonry level view before you start your roof tool. Now I'm creating the roof on the top of masonry level. I can choose a type of roof. I'll just accept the basic roof generic right now. And I'll start by creating a hip roof. So it's going to have a slope all the way around. You can see that right now up in my draw section, pick walls is selected. And you can see that right now in my options bar, I do not have an overhang. So I actually want to set my overhang to 2 feet here. Now I can click on a wall and it will simply create an overhang that goes out 2 feet. Now notice that by default, I have a 9/12 slope. So if I want to adjust that slope to something else, I can do so. Let's say a 6/12. One of the nice things about changing the slope is you don't have to change the full value. You can just type 6 and enter, for example, and that will allow you to change it. So again, click on each line here and adjust it to 6. You can also change it in the Properties panel as well. If I go ahead and finish and switch to 3D, I can see my first roof there. Other roofs that I can create a flat roof. So I want to go back to the top of masonry level. And notice the way this roof looks. That's because of the whole view range issue. It's coming up 4 feet and then cutting it off in the view. But as we saw in 3D, the roof is just fine. So I'm going to create another roof by footprint. This time I'm going to turn off Defines Slope here in the options bar. And now I'll click each wall and finish. And as you can see in 3D, I've got a flat roof. I could also do a shed roof. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and pick all 4 lines without the slope again. But I'm going to come back and add slope to one of these lines. So I'll select this line here and choose the Defines Slope check. And again, I can control what that slope's going to be. Maybe it'll be 3. And finish. And now when I switch to 3D, you can see the roof. Now, as you can see, my walls did not attach to that roof. Sometimes you'll be prompted that the walls go up to that level. Do you want it to be attached? Since I didn't get that message, I'm going to go ahead and select all of my walls here. And actually, I think this is why I didn't get the message. It looks like it's still grouped, so I'm going to ungroup it. Now they're separate walls. Now I can use my attach top base tool and click on this roof. And as you can see, they all attached. Looks like this guy is grouped as well, so I'm going to ungroup it before I do my final roof, which is a gable roof. So I'll do one more roof by footprint. And this time I'm going to add the slope to the left and right sides. So I'm going to hold the control key to select both the left and right side line. Choose defines slope and finish. Switch back to 3D. And again, I just want to go ahead and select each of these walls and attach them. I'm going to use the tab keyboard shortcut to select all walls. Then attach top base. Then click on the roof to attach. So as you can see, the 4 different types of roofs that are discussed in the first exercise in your textbook. Let's take a look at the roof on the tutorial house. Let me switch back to that exercise file. As you can see, all the walls are done, just need a roof. And your textbook does something a little untraditional in adding in the roof. They add in the roof and then have you edit it, mostly to give you experience with editing a roof. Let me take a look at my elevations here before I figure out which level I want to be on. I can see there's a roof level up here at 18 feet, so that's the level I want to create my roof at. So I'm going to double click on my roof plan to go to that view. You can see a few walls here, and I'm going to create a roof by footprint with a 1'6" overhang. And then again, I'm just going to leave it as the basic roof for now. And as you can see, defines slope is checked on. I want that to be true for this line on the back of the house, and I'm just going to choose this line in the front of the house. Then I'm going to turn off defines slope and pick a couple of lines on the side of the house. Now notice I didn't pick these other lines, and that's because in order to keep a nice clean sketch, I'm going to use my corner trim tool to trim these corners together. And then the slope on this particular roof is going to be an 8/12, so I'll just adjust that in the properties this time and finish. Here's the message to attach walls to the roof. I'll go ahead and click yes, switch to 3D, and I can see the beginning of my roof, but obviously I've got some changes I need to make, so I'm going to go back to my roof plan, and to edit an existing roof you just choose edit footprint. So for this step you are going to first of all need to split this long horizontal wall down at the bottom. So I'll choose my split element tool, split this wall in half. Then I am going to go back to the pick walls tool, confirm that I've got a 1'6" overhang, and I'm going to click these 3 walls at the front of my house. As you can see, one of the corners trimmed up nicely, the other one I will need to use my corner trim tool to clean up. This little part over the front of the house is going to be a gable end, so I want to add a slope to the left and the right side here. So I'll select the pink line and defines slope, select the other pink line and defines slope. I often see this problem in my face-to-face class. When I go to finish, I get an error message here that says I can't keep the wall and target joined. So I'm going to cancel to get back into my tool. If you see that message, it's typically because you have a variety of roof slopes in the same roof. So you might remember that I set these roofs to 8/12 earlier, but when I added in these 2 new ones, I never changed them. They're still set to 9/12. So I'm going to adjust each of these to 8/12. So now that I have a consistent slope, I should be able to finish and see my completed roof here. Once more, I can see some walls attached, others I need to do manually, so As we discussed before, I'll click on the wall, attach top base, then click on the roof that I want to attach to. Spin around and do the same thing with the other side as well. So next up, I want to create a roof above the garage and then also above this part of the house as well, and I need a level to put that on. So you're going to have your first opportunity to create a new level. I'm going to do that by going to the north elevation, and we're just going to create a roof level, a low roof level at the top of the garage here. So up here on my architecture tab in the datum section is my level tool. Select the level tool, and if I want to get it to line up perfectly with all the other ones, I can do some tracking and come all the way over here to the left side of the house, track off of this low roof until it lines up with these other level lines. Then I could come over and track and line it up with the other levels on the right side. Then I'll just simply change the name, so let's call this one low roof. Now when I change the name of the level, it also changes any associated views, so I'll click yes to accept that. So now over here in my project browser, I have some new low roof plans, so I'll double click on the low roof plan. And now I want to add in the roofs above these sections. So once more, I'm going to do a roof by footprint. I'm going to click each of these walls. And then for this one, I'm not going to click on the wall because I don't want it to actually offset. I want it to line up with the wall itself. So I'm going to use the Pick Lines tool up here in the Draw section with a 0 offset. And then I'll just click on this line and then use my corner trim tool to put those together. And finally, I want to slope on this top line and the bottom line. So I'm going to define slope on those, and I'll set this one to 8 to match the other ones. Finish and yes to attach, and take a look at that in 3D, and you can see the first of the short roofs. So now I'll create another one on the garage side here using the same steps. Roof with the 1'6" offset, the Pick Line tool, the Trim tool, and then finally I will select these two lines and add a slope of 8 to those. And then yes to attach. So now you can see that I have the roofs completed. The tutorial will also let you experiment with some different roof tools on this particular house. Now you will end up bringing it back to the way it is right now, but I'll show you a couple of those tools. So one of the things that you're going to try out is switching to a hip roof. So I'll go back to my roof plan, select the main roof and edit footprint, and just simply add in the slope to the left and the right side, and then make sure you confirm that it's coming in at an 8/12. It looks like mine is. So now I have a hip roof. And one of the tools that you will get a chance to try is the join tool for the roof. So if I select this little roof here, and I get my modify options, up here in the geometry section, you can see this little roof up here. This lets me join or unjoin roofs. And the way this works is I click on the edge of the roof that I want to extend to join another roof, which would be this one. Then I click the plane of the roof I want to extend to, which would be this one. So you'll repeat that for the garage side as well. And once more, roof join, the edge, and the surface it's going to. So as I mentioned, you will end up using the join tool again to unjoin that, and then eventually go back to a gable end roof. You could also, of course, just choose your undo option until it's back where you had it originally as well. Again, you're going to go back to the original one, but the idea is to get used to the tools and understand how to modify a roof and make those changes, including the join option. So hopefully after viewing this video, you are ready to add the roof to your tutorial house.